The Haunting of Hill House tells the story of several people in one of the most haunted houses in the country. The following families all experienced something that felt very much real to them. These are the real-life hauntings that inspired The Haunting of Hill House. When Janet and Jack Smurl first moved into their family home, the property needed repainting and refixing, but what they didn't know was that the renovations would be the least of their problems. Over a period of 13 years, they were tormented by ghosts that haunted the place. Janet was believed she was touched in her sleep by a demon, and Jack was also attacked by an unknown force as he watched a baseball game on TV. They also witnessed the family dog being thrown violently against the wall. Demonologist Ed and Lorraine Warren identified 4 ghosts at the property: a harmless old lady, a violent young girl, a man who died in the home, and a demon who controlled the other 3 spirits. In 1987, the Smurl family had enough of the attacks, and they fled their home with no intention to return. In 1970, the Parent family moved into a farmhouse in Rhode Island, built in 1736. The previous occupant issued them a code warning: "For the sake of your family, leave the lights on at night." The torment began almost immediately. Carolyn was awoken in the middle of the night by the ghost of an old, gray lady named Bathsheba, whose head hung loosely. The apparition warned the family to leave. The children also bonded with the spirit of a little boy they affectionately named Manny, who watched them through the windows as they played outside. And then there were other spirits who tossed them out of their bed, pulled at their legs, and filled the house with the smell of rotting flesh many mornings at 5:15 a.m. To this day, the Parent family struggle to talk about what happened. Andrea Parent, now a grown woman, said, "Let's just say there was a very bad male spirit in the home with 5 little girls." In 1869, Henry McPike built a 16-bedroom mansion for his family. In the 1900s, the mansion was sold to Paul Lechinger, who rents the rooms to boarders. However, those who did stay there soon began to hear strange noises, including children talking and laughing together, although children were not on the grounds. Following the death of Lechinger in 1945, the mansion sat vacant until 1994 when Sharon and George Lucky purchased the property. Sharon soon noticed that the ghost-like man would stare at her from the windows as she was gardening. Other disturbances included orbs being caught on camera and heavy metal doors opening on their own. Ghost hunters have confirmed that the most paranormally active room in the house is the wine cellar. In the mid-1800s, Lucy Chase Sprague lost her fortune and died penniless in the Sprague Mansion. The property has stood with a dark cloud over it since then. In 1967, Robert and Viola Lynch moved into the 28-bedroom mansion that featured its very own creepy doll room. In the late 1960s, Bob Lynch Jr. and a few of his friends had their blankets thrown off of their beds. Using a makeshift Ouija board, they contacted a ghost that spelled out, "Tell my story." Another entity haunts the place, is a ghost by the name of Amasa Sprague, whose body was discovered and bludgeoned to death close to the house in 1843. Since the Lynch family moved away, paranormal experts have visited the mansion and captured the doll's eyes in the doll room moving on camera. The wine cellar is also a place of much paranormal activity, including orbs and unexplained lights. Between 1977 and 1979, there was one ghost story that gripped the world: the Enfield Poltergeist. Within this home, a single mother, Peggy, and her two young daughters were tormented by a violent poltergeist. Sisters 13-year-old Margaret and 11-year-old Janet complained of menacing voices, loud banging, and chairs being overturned in the house. Janet will also become possessed and speak in deep, demon-like voice belonging to 70-year-old Bill Wilkins, who had previously died at the house. Press photographer Graham Morris, who was asked to report on the disturbances, recalled, "I thought it was an ordinary job until I walked in the house." Morris managed to capture a famous photograph of young Janet levitating out of her bed as her face twists in horror. Built in 1868, the Lemp Mansion is a cave where the Lemp family brewed their own beer. In 1901, William Lemp was left devastated when his fourth son, Frederick Lemp, died of ill health. In 1904, William committed suicide by gunshot and William Jr. took over the family business. In 1920, Elsa Lemp Wright, the youngest Lemp child, shot herself after her divorce. As a result of Prohibition, the family brewery was sold at an auction after hitting hard times, and Billy Jr. shot himself in 1922. Years later, in 1949, Charles Lemp, the third son, shot himself in the head after killing their dog. The only surviving son, Edwin Lemp, died of natural causes, and his dying wish was for everything in the family to be destroyed. Not surprisingly, the Lemp Mansion is now a restaurant and is said to be haunted. One legend is that there was another Lemp son who was born deformed and hidden away in the attic. His spirit is believed to hunt and torment the house. In 1986, the Snedeker family, Alan and Carmen, their three sons and daughter and two nieces, moved into a house in Southington, Connecticut. While exploring their new home, Carmen found mortician's tools in the basement, and she soon discovered that the property was once a funeral home. It wasn't long before their oldest son experienced visions of evil spirits, and both parents claimed to have been attacked by demons. Demonologists Ed and Lorraine Warren agreed that the Snedeker house was infested with demons. Since the family moved from the home, there have been no further reports of any paranormal activity. It is believed that the evil within this was drawn to the family rather than the house itself. Located at 525 South Winchester Boulevard in San Jose, California, is the Winchester House, which was first built in 1884. Following the death of her husband, William Wirt Winchester, and with $1,000 a day inheritance in hand, Sarah Winchester sought the help of spiritualists to deal with her grief. Sarah had also lost her only daughter when she was just 6 weeks old. The spiritualist warned Sarah that she was cursed and advised her to build a home for the spirits. The spirits in question were said to be those killed by Winchester rifles. Sarah sold her home in New Haven, Connecticut, and began work on the Winchester House. "If you continue building, you will live. Stop and you will die," advised the spiritualist. Every day for 38 years, Sarah continued building. The property ended up with 160 rooms, 47 fireplaces, trap doors, secret passages, and staircase that led to nowhere. On November 3, 1974, Ronald Butch DeFeo Jr. murdered his parents, two brothers, and two sisters with a .35 caliber rifle while they slept peacefully in their beds. Butch claimed he was tormented by voices that ordered him to kill his family. A year later, George and Kathleen Lutz moved into the Amityville house with their children after purchasing the 5-bedroom property for a low price. George reportedly then began to awaken at 3:15 a.m. every day, around the time Butch was known to have massacred his family. They also saw a pig-like creature with red eyes staring from the windows of the house, and the young children would levitate from their beds. Both George and Kathleen passed lie detector tests about what they experienced in the home, and eventually, they fled from the property. 112 Ocean Drive is still known as one of the most haunted houses in America.